Well, joining us now for more in-depth analysis of those Nigerian elections is Martin Iwi. He's a senior researcher with the Institute for Security Studies based in Pretoria. He joins us now from those Pretoria studios. Good afternoon, Martin, and thank you for your time on the PM News Desk. Always a pleasure to chat to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Martin, why is this Buhari victory so highly significant right now, and also potential watershed moment, not only for Nigeria, but the entire region?
Yes, it is quite remarkable, the victory in every sense, the circumstances leading up to it, and the result itself. If you see, this is a nation that has been ruled for most of its independence years by military rule. And now we have, for the first time in a country, the biggest in Africa, where transition from one leader to another has been done purely on democratic basis. We have not seen that before, and it is also the first time in Nigeria that we are seeing that the incumbent has been replaced by an opposition through the ballot box. This is really, truly remarkable in Nigeria, where we've had greedy leaders who have wanted to cling to power rather than give it up. In some cases, this will have resulted in violence where, you know, if Jonathan was not dynamic the way he was, he would have refused the vote, he would have opposed the vote, and then sought violence.
Yes, Martin, let's talk about Jonathan's concession to defeat to General Buhari this morning, and that much talked about phone call, a signal of deepening democracy in Africa's most populous nation.
Absolutely. This is the first time in Africa. We've seen power switch from the incumbent to the opposition through democracy, through elections. But we've not seen in any of the cases where the incumbent actually caused the opponent, the opposition, to concede defeat, to congratulate him, and then to say, you know, good luck for the rest of your government. This is very, very new in Africa, and I think Nigeria is setting an example, the precedence that we hope that other African countries will be able to follow. Because in Africa, the result of the elections is a very fragile period that often or not result in violence.
Martin, did the outcome go according to script in terms of linking accountability to performance at the polls? We know Jonathan did fall short when it came to his failure to stop Boko Haram militants, and of course the very weak response to the kidnapping of the Chibok girls. But this growing discontent around his leadership, it was bound to take him down at some point or the other?
Absolutely. I think it was bound to take him down. If he had survived this, he would have been the greatest political survivor of any era. Because if you see, there has been growing discontent in Nigeria about Jonathan's responses or some of his policy responses to some crucial issues. You raised the issue of Boko Haram. This has been one of them, which has been at the center of Nigerian politics for the past 5 years. Thousands, it's estimated more than 13,000 Nigerians have perished as a result of Boko Haram. Many believe that the group could have been stopped if adequate measures had been taken. You mentioned the issue of the girls who were kidnapped last year. You can imagine, you know, that it took the government 10 days or more to come out with a response, you know, to actually start the search of those young girls, and still up to today, we don't have those girls with us. So it is really a pity. And he has also made some blunders in other areas such as the economy. We've also seen him in some critical policies where he has not lived up to the expectations of Nigerians. But, you know, his exit really will be remembered as a gentleman. He has really demonstrated his statement abilities, doing what none in Africa has done before, you know, in terms of conceding elections
yes.
in
Martin,
such a peaceful
some
way.
analysts saying the tide is turning in Africa, and we do hope so, that leaders, and you alluded to it a little while earlier, can no longer cling to this power indefinitely. Now, we saw it happen in the past 5 years or so. 2011, Ivory Coast, Laurent Gbagbo refused to accept election defeat and was eventually removed by force. A year later, it happened in Senegal with Abdoulaye Wade. He also tried the same but was defeated at the poll. And then last October, most recently, Blaise Compaoré tried to amend the constitution to extend his 27-year term in office. Thousand-storm parliament, he was forced to flee. Is it the sign of times to come, Martin?
It is a sign. Things are changing, but the pace is very slow. You mentioned a list of leaders. Start even in Nigeria. You know, one of Nigeria's greatest leaders, President Olusegun Obasanjo, actually, towards his end, attempted to revise the constitution in order for him to stay longer in power. Thank God Nigerian people refused that. So you see, there is a long list of African leaders who do not want to quit power, who want to continue to rule, to suppress people rather than use democratic processes. We've also seen cases where democracy has provided a cover for many of these dictators using democracy through fraud, you know, to prolong their stay in power. So I hope that what is happening in Nigeria, the new dawn that has come of age in Nigeria, that will be able to be replicated in other African countries, so that maybe in the next decade, we can be proud of our democracy in this continent.
Martin Uwe with the Institute for Security Studies, thank you so much for your time on the SABC News Desk, sir.